5 different pictures of the announcement to the shepherds. Now, these are dated, so as we look at them, you'll get some sense. The first one is the 13th century. The next one's the 14th century. Then there are 2 from the 16th. And the last one is from the 19th century. So you'll notice the artwork has some different things as we move through it. But let's look at this. So the only word we got on this was, this is the angel's announcements to the shepherd. I thought it was one shepherd, but in fact, that creature behind the guy on the rock is another shepherd who has his robe. Apparently, he's resting while the other guy keeps watch, and then maybe after a while they take turns. And I don't have a lot of data. Is there anything about this that you observe that strikes you?
Or is he shielding himself from the angel because he's afraid?
Okay.
The second shepherd.
Oh, that could be. Okay, so he's covering up because, okay, yeah, that could be. No, that's just my set of eyes, okay? This almost looks like the angel is in womb to me, encased. Now, there's a comment about there were often dogs in this scene that were added to it, and especially the dog in the lower left-hand corner with a red collar on. Now, I never read anything about the significance of the redness of the collar. Sometimes colors make a difference. Okay, so I think we can go to the second one. I'm going to use these as a pretext anyway. So here's the next one. Now this goes to the 14th century. Anything you notice about this one that's quite different? It'd be something that I would expect.
They're kneeling down.
Yep, okay. All right. I guess I would not have expected all the buildings. There's a big building on the right of the picture with a moat, and there almost seems to be a basilica or a fortress off to the back. And I always said, since the shepherds were way out in the field alone, separate. But again, it's the artist's conception. And here, there's little angels sort of floating down around the larger angel that's announcing the birth. And the guy on the right has his hat off, almost like he has his hat off to the angel. Thank you for this. I greet you. I wondered what it was for a while. I finally figured out it was a hat. So I don't know if there's anything else. The dog is there again. The pictures are more a pretext this week, and you'll figure out why in a minute. So, all right, let's go to the next one. Now, this is a verse from the 16th century. Anything you notice about that one that's different? Maybe they're hard. Are they hard to see? Am I asking an unfair question? Okay, I'm sorry. So it would have been better to give you the pictures. Bella?
Well, I think the angels are more up close.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Maybe I can help a little bit.
Seems like a darker tone.
Yeah.
It's darker tone.
Foreboding.
Okay. Now, this looks like really a village. There's men, women, and children there. In the lower right corner, there's what appears to be a nursing mother. The baby's on her breast, and she's pretty much not with clothing on the top. So that's what I assume. Maybe it's just me, what I think. But this looks more like an encampment than a traveling, and I never thought that there were shepherds where families traveling around. So, again, we have that conception, but the picture certainly focuses toward the center, and there seems a myriad of more angels in this picture than the other. And of course, one guy has his arms spread, which would be a welcoming thing. You wouldn't be so afraid, but at least that wouldn't make you think you're afraid. Okay, so the next one. Now this is Rembrandt. Why it's black and white, I don't know. It makes a point, but it certainly takes some of the liveliness and joy out of it. But it's, there's a stream there, and again, the angels are off, separated, but there's a brightness around them to sort of show the contrast with the world and those who they're speaking to. Okay, so let's go to the next one, unless you have questions. question. Does anybody see anything in there you want to talk about? Okay, so this is the 19th century now. Look at the difference, and that one's pretty clear. You see, is there anything you notice about this?
The comet,
Pardon?
has like a comet star in it, right?
Yeah, okay. Yep. The star or comet. The angel is quite modern. And then the people look more like 19th century. I mean, it looks like some Amish folks, you know, they got the hats and the clothing looks a little bit more modern. Okay, so now we get to the point. So we've done this for the 4th week now. And the first week, let me see if I can remember, we had Zechariah. And the theme was fear, remember, being confronted by something out of this world, something strange, something different, something so the theme was fear, and of course, he didn't really have a choice. I mean, your wife is expecting a child. I mean, it's not something, you know, he could have said, I'm going away, but that's going to happen regardless, okay? The second week, we talked about Joseph, and it was about, okay, help me, you guys were here. Remember those things. What was it?
Fear.
Curiosity.
No,
Confusion.
Confusion.
Yeah. Like, what was he supposed to do? They weren't officially married yet, and she was pregnant with a child by the Holy Spirit, and all those things. And he had decided he's going to get rid of her, and the angel talked to him, and he decided to stick it out and do the right thing. Okay? All right. So, I guess he had the option to stay with what he was going to do, but he didn't. To leave what he was going to do, but he stayed with it. Okay? So Esther was married, and she was told that was about doubt, and of course wonderment, trouble, even tonight. They talk about trouble and wonderment and pondering, which often comes up Christmas Day. But again, she didn't have a choice. The child was inside. So now tonight, it seemed to me as I was looking at this, that the most unique thing about tonight was that the angels appear, they announce this good news. Now, the shepherds have to do something. In other words, they were not going to experience any more than this revelation unless they went and did something to take notice of it, or to pay attention to it, or to be further touched by it. And that's what you're getting tonight. That's what struck me about this. And so what I want to say to you is, when we think about this set of pictures in particular, we want to think a little bit, or I want to have us think a little bit about things in our life that become messages from God, however you take them, that strike or spark your interest or your curiosity. And do we follow through on those things? So we can say that we see things, we dream things, we hear things, people say things to us. Okay? But do we follow up with them? Now let me give you I tried to think, and I think there's a million things of it. Jesus was a lot the same way. Often, when he got involved with people, he was the one that saw something and took the initiative toward that person. Okay? This Samaritan woman, he asked her for water. He knew what he's getting into. You know, he goes to the lepers who approach him, but then he has a conversation. But the man at the side of the water, he said, well, do you want to be well? So he makes the initiative. So something moved him that he knew about the situation, or that he thought that saw a need in the other that he reached out to. And I wonder how often we do that. So let me tell you a little bit about how it works for me. And that's the only way I know to illustrate. I'm not trying to brag or anything. I'm just trying to share it with you. So when I got into ministry, I had particular interest in people who were very sick or dying. And so I thought, well, geez, why am I not in hospice? Because I'm sort of drawn to this. So I went and looked around Frederick and found they were putting together a hospice, and guess what? They needed a chaplain. So I guess that's what I'm talking about here. When we see something, do we take it as an invitation and respond? So, for instance, I know you come to church on Sunday morning, and I bet you, like me, have seen some people crying during worship. Is that an opportunity for you to say, wow, I could reach out to that? So afterward, we could say to that person, you know, I noticed you were crying, you were upset a little bit. Are you okay? To sort of say, these things might well be invitations to us to make a response. And if the shepherds had not gone, look what they would have missed. And when they went, they found the opportunity not only to be touched, but then to touch others. So I guess when I think about it, I was thinking about, what do you see around Good Shepherd that you say to yourself, geez, what's going on there? Could I be a part of that? Can I do something about helping with that? Could I take some initiative? And I'm talking to you, a lot of people do stuff around here. I'm not trying to put the burden on you. I'm just trying to sort of sensitize your spiritual awareness to the people around you. And trying to encourage you to find a way to reach out when you have that sense of there's something there that I can be involved with, I can be available to. Now, I think that's a risk. You got to take a chance. But I think more often than not, it pays off when we take the effort to take that little nudge as, gee, maybe God's got us something going here for us. You know, maybe God's moving us in a direction. And instead of, and so letting your curiosity about the people around you be a sort of an invitation to sort of reach out and care and show interest. You know, I mean, if you have a person coming in here with a wheelchair, it's pretty obvious. You know, a bunch of people are going to say, can we help you? You know, if the person's trying to make their way and you see that, you're going to. So in what other situations where it's not so particularly obvious and you're not particularly aware of it, can we say we're willing to take a risk and reach out to that other person, to have the opportunity to encourage, to support, to make some kind of a witness. And I think in that way, almost the shepherds this night in the pictures are a little bit distinct from what happened on the other weeks. So I just want to encourage you to think about that and to sort of let God work on you about that. And today, just for the heck of it, I took the directory out. And I know, it's easy to say, you know, well, Dave, you get paid for this. Okay, well, you know, I do. But it's also part of my nature to try to be aware of what's going on out there and pick up the phone, drop a note, grab a shoulder, those kind of things, and say, you know, I heard this, how's that going? Can I help? You know, is there anything I can do to be available? So, and I think that's some part of my nature, and it is with a lot of pastors. I'm not an exception. But what I'm trying to do is encourage more risks on that, because I tend to see that as the same thing. God's sort of tapping on the shoulder or giving me an indication or something that I can be available here in a way that really blesses me, but also blesses the other person. So I guess that's sort of the key thing tonight. So, and I think I covered most of what I wanted to say. Let's see, said it a couple times. Yeah, so it's really what they did with what they saw that sort of makes the difference.